We're back to the bobbin. What's up, buddy?
We're home at Lenny's.
Home at last. Home at Lenny's. For those of you that have been tuning in, I'm Adam. I'm a home designer here in Northwest Indiana.
And I'm Evan. I'm a small business owner. We own some restaurants, 6 restaurants in Northwest Indiana, and some apartment buildings here in town. So that's what we do. And this podcast is just like it's called Small Business Talk, and we just talk about our small businesses and strategies, our experiences, ideas that we have, and hopefully those are some things that are like tangible that you guys can take if you're interested in small business and wanting to start your own business or just operating an existing business. Hopefully it's helpful in some way, and hopefully you get some entertainment out of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we've been talking a lot about YouTube and trying to, this podcast is really an experiment in YouTube and trying to figure it out as many ways as we can. Mm-hmm. One way I've been trying to figure it out, I just started this weekend. I created a second channel on YouTube.
Interesting.
Well, I guess third. This would be my second channel. Yeah. So third. It's going to be all my outdoorsy adventure stuff. So I did an adventure race this weekend. It was 8 hours traipsing through the woods, running, biking, and canoeing. Brought my little 360 camera. I'm like, I'm just going to film the thing, put it together, see what happens out of it. It was actually so much easier to film and produce than my normal home design stuff. I think because the story is so evident. Like, it's so clear, hey, we only have 8 hours to get as many checkpoints as possible. Done. You know, like that's enough of a story for some people to watch. Whereas like the home design stuff, I was always struggling with, I can do an informative or educational video, but it's been way harder for me to figure out how do I like embed story into the video and get this like a mass appeal. And I'm like, oh, one race. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to race this thing and see how we do, you know? And it's like, it's so much easier to just go through it chronologically. Like,
yeah,
it also just helps. There's so many visuals when you're through the woods. Like you're
just
seeing
keeps
pretty
your attention.
Yeah. You're seeing pretty lakes.
You're
and stuff.
probably thinking about too, like, and I've thought about this as well. Like if I were to make another channel, it would be a golf channel. You know, just because that's what I like to do. That's what I watch on YouTube a lot. And that's you're probably thinking from that perspective of like, okay, the work stuff is work, and it's easy to get more burnt out on that because it's work, you know, and we spend so much of our week thinking about this and working on things. So to do something that's like actually fun and kind of more of a creative outlet and like something that you would want to watch.
Yeah.
For like pure entertainment value would be like a fun thing to do. But for me, it's like, I don't know if, I mean, that's just it. I'm already like not, maybe because it's work related, but I'm already like behind or like, you know, not posting as much or producing as much content as I would want to. But at some point it's just, it gets hard to keep up with when you got so many other things. So to like put another thing on top of it, even if it's like entertainment, it's like, how am I going to fit this in? You know?
Yeah. I thought about that, and I'm like, I stayed up till almost 1 last night editing it. And I was just so excited to make this thing.
But was that the first video that you made?
Yeah.
So like, it's easy to say that now, but what about in a month? You know, you're like, oh, crap, I got to make.
Yeah. When I'm 20 videos in, is it still going to be fun? I don't know. And I'm not putting any pressure on the channel. Like, I'm not trying to be a sponsored athlete or anything. But as long as it's fun, it was really, really easy to do. And I will agree, I have been bogged down with the work stuff. I feel like, just like, how many videos can I make in my office? You know? And I'm not at the sites enough. Maybe I should just go to more sites, but that's hard to do. I've got a job.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to fit this marketing time in.
And like thinking about what channels are successful, like really successful on YouTube. Not that we're going to ever get to that level, but it's like typically the entertainment stuff, you know, like the golf channels, Mr. Beast, you know, like challenges,
Dude
things
Perfect.
Like that.
Yep. Yeah. I think entertainment outpaces information. I think we've talked about this. There's only 2 ways to get views. It's entertainment and information. And the entertainment stuff way outpaces the information, I think. There are some people in the home building space that have massive, massive followings, you know, but it's not crazy. Like 1 million followers is huge for somebody in the construction realm. I can think of like Matt Reisinger, 30 by 40. He's an architect. They both have really big YouTube channels, but that's nothing in the entertainment realm. Like I follow random guys that do like canoeing trips that have 1 million subscribers, you know? And they're small creators, you know, it's hundreds of millions that the entertainment stuff can go up to. So,
yeah. I mean, I spend so much time watching like these golfers, like Bryson, you know, breaking 50. He's got that thing, and he's always got a different like guest on that show with him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, I'll sit there and watch for an hour, hour and a half to see if they can break 50.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, if I'm looking for something informational, I'm usually hitting the forward button to get to the point that I need to hear.
Yeah, you see the spike in the YouTube graph and you go right to that spike.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
And then you click out and watch a golf video, you know?
Yeah.
So I get that.
It's so much harder to get a subscribe to from information.
Yeah.
How big should my kitchen island be? They're like, yeah, exactly. Okay, 4x8. Great. Sweet. Moving on.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to subscribe to this guy. He knows his stuff.
But I think I still am in the state where even with this, like I enjoy audio editing. I'm enjoying video editing. I'm enjoying the act of producing all this stuff. So I might as well capitalize it while I'm still excited about it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And you're getting more subscribers. You're still doing good on your normal channel.
Yeah. I've been
like
posting a lot of
500.
the old shorts that I've just, I'd put up on Instagram and never put up on YouTube. So I still have a back library of those that I've been able to do. And then, I'm like trying to dial in the very first words you see when that short goes in the screen, you know?
Yeah.
And try and there's like a razor thin margin of informative enough that you'll keep someone's attention, but just vague enough where they want to know more. You know, like you don't want to say a kitchen island, like a 4x8 kitchen island, and have that be the thumbnail for your short, because they're like, okay, I don't really need to know more out of here. But you also don't want to say like, I don't know, something that would be like so vague that they wouldn't really even click, even if they were interested in islands, you know? So it's like, this is all marketing though, is trying to dial in those levers to where it's perfect. And what's cool about social is you get the numbers so quick. You know, you can kind of tell when something did good or bad. Yeah. Like almost instantly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. Obviously you were saving that to tell me on the podcast, but hopefully that's fun. And it'll be interesting to see like if it's how much easier it is to get subscribers, like doing an entertainment type. Yeah. You know, and if it really works, like, man, maybe I'll try it take my camera out to the golf course every once in a while.
Yeah.
Or just with that, it's like, you can probably just use your phone, you know?
Yes. Yeah. You can do bunch lower quality, I think.
Especially for shorts vertically, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And we have the advantage of like, we've done enough editing to where like you can still edit those video files. It's not like you're just posting from your phone and everything. Like send it to your computer, cut it up, make it like, put some music behind it.
Yeah. So my strategy is like, I don't know, maybe this leads people back to I'm linking all the accounts, you know, so if you find me in one area, like it says, hey, I'm a home designer, owner of Burnham Design Co. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's a grand experiment. We'll see. It did get like an hour of watch time in the first 30 minutes I had it up, which is, I mean.
Oh, so you posted it last night?
Yeah. I posted it this morning.
Oh, okay.
I edited it all last night, posted this morning.
What's the account name? Like, what's the name of it?
Burnham Adventure.
Okay.
So just really hammering on the Burnham thing.
I wonder if it would be better to be like adventure cycling or like, you know what I mean? Like more specific. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. I might play
Probably
with that.
Doesn't matter. But for in your case, you have the benefit of like bringing it back to your other channel.
Yeah. My main business. And so I got an hour of watch time in the first 30 minutes, which for our size channels is a lot. Like that's more than I normally do, but it's all my buddies that watch it, you know. But what's cool is I've got some buddies that I do these races with, and they're like interested to see these kinds of things. Like I can tell by the numbers, they didn't just say like, "Hey, good video," and just clicked on it and watched 2 seconds. Like they all watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, okay, maybe there is something here.
There's a lot you can do with that too. Like you could post a video that's almost like an ASMR video where there's no talking, it's just quiet and you're just writing for an hour.
Yeah.
Or you could post a video where you're doing the same thing, but you're talking about your business, like or a meeting for like 20 minutes or something, you know, or what you're working
just
on
while I'm on the bike.
while you're writing.
Yeah. I've thought about that too. That would
And then
be
you could post like actual races or like, you know, and then you could do a video like let's see if I can win this race. And then like the whole time you're kind of like when you're editing it, you could track it to be like, I'm in 4th place or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm in, you know, like you're watching a NASCAR race.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah.
But it's a mixture of like the personality, like do people relate to the personality of the channel, and then like the competition component, like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably a lot you could do with that, and it's probably more enjoyable, you know, than your home design videos, I would imagine, because it's fun for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is what I do in my free time. Yeah.
I saw your brother yesterday. He was taking his bike. He was driving out of the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Was he meeting up with you? I asked.
No, I took an off day yesterday because the race was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I asked him if he was. He said yeah, but he probably meant like I'd like to bike with Adam or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
he texted me about it, and I was like, no, I need to chill today.
Yeah.
But yeah, he built his bike up, so I've been riding with him.
Yeah, it looked pretty fancy.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see him on the YouTube channel.
Maybe.
Woo woo. So what you got going on?
Things are good. I feel like it's been we had a pretty good stride lately. Like we've gotten in a good rhythm just going into summer, and like sales have been pretty good. And I'm at that point now where I'm kind of like, there's like a few things floating on in my head. Like it's almost been too good or copacetic to where you start thinking like, all right, when's the next problem that's going to come up, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been dealing, like last week I had an issue with a couple employees, higher level employees, that I was like, just kind of like petty, stupid stuff. But you're stepping into that and you're kind of helping navigate, and you're like, I don't want this to turn into like a bigger thing than it needs to be, you know? So that's a big part of my role, is dealing with those things. They don't happen all the time, and the better managers I have, like the less I have to deal with that. But it's inevitable. It comes up, and there's going to be disagreements and stuff, or just, you know, hurt feelings or annoyances or frustrations. So I've had to deal with a little bit of that lately, and I'm just like, all right, I'm really hoping that doesn't turn into a bigger issue, and that they can just get on the same page. And I think it's in a pretty good place right now, but like that's not new to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've dealt with that kind of stuff for years. So it's just when, you know, we have 160 employees on average. So it's like that stuff's going to come up, you know, or people complain about their boss or, you know, their manager or whatever. And that's just like part of life. But I have to step into that stuff a fair amount. And right now it's like, it's fine, but like I've gone through it enough to know like how overwhelming and bad and stressful it can get. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like really hoping, you know, that these little things don't turn into some of those bigger things. So yeah, I've been kind of thinking a lot about that, and just like, you know, with Birdies, it's like that restaurant's doing well. And sales have definitely started to creep up as we get into the nicer months. But my manager there, like, she works a lot because just because of the numbers and what the numbers were. And it's like, okay, we've made a little bit of money, but like if we had another assistant manager, like we'd either break even or maybe lose a little bit. But I don't want her to burn out, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I've just kind of, you know, I see that she's putting in a lot of time and energy and she's really good. But, I also get a little nervous about that. Like, you know, that one day where she's like super overwhelmed, and then it's like, is my response, you know, like, all right, well, maybe we should put out an ad for an assistant manager, you know, just because I don't want her to freak out or get overwhelmed or be like, you know, this is too much, you know. It's just, it's a beast of a restaurant because it's open all day. But like, you know, if the breakfast and lunch sales were what they were at Le Peep, you know, they're just not that high because we're newer, you know. They're good, but they're not like crazy good. So if we were just doing more volume, it'd be I mean, I have an assistant manager at Le Peep, you know, but like we're doing a little bit less in sales what Birdie's does over the course of a month, but like we're open, you know, 8 hours a day. So I have way less labor. And then I've got two assistant managers, or an assistant manager and a general manager. So, but like I can make that work because our hourly labor is a lot less, and we're still doing not quite the same in sales as Birdie's, but like, you know, pretty close. And we're open, you know, 8 hours a day instead of like 16.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So just kind of like navigating that stuff. And then like, you know, if we do need to make that decision, making it at the right time, not making it too late. And then it's like, you know, now we're doing tons of volume because people have moved into those apartments across the street that are going up. And
Oh yeah. Right.
so just kind of, you know, figuring out all that stuff. And then I was talking a little bit about, that idea a few episodes ago, that idea I have for Cherville, you know, like changing that over. Yeah. And I've just been thinking about that, and I'm like, man, this is like the first year in probably like 4 years probably where we haven't had like a massive project going on, you know, like it was Le Peep, moving Le Peep across the street over there.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot of construction and stuff around.
Yeah, and just like whether it's construction or just like that was not a new restaurant, but it was in a lot of ways it was, because it's a bigger space. You're hiring more. Like it kind of felt
brand
like
new building, right?
Yeah, like everyone's kind of figuring out the flow. Like there was a lot to that, and then after that it was Lenny's, and then after that it was Birdie's. So it's just been like a long season of like doing new things, and part of that's like my inability to just like sit still, but every year, like especially in this time, because all those projects were either like late summer, fall, you know, when the project was complete. So like this time of the year, I would be able to enjoy my life a little bit, but you just have that underlying like stress in the back of your mind, you know, of like, man, this big thing's like coming up. Everyone's asking you about it, you know, on Wednesday night golf league. How's it coming at the new place? Like, you know, so I kind of been thinking like I don't know. I really do like that idea, but also like, I like the idea of just enjoying like the time with my family this summer, going to my son's baseball games, not having some like massive thing on the horizon that's like just looming in the back of my mind. So, you know, I don't know. I'm being able to like golf a little bit more without like that stress or that anxiety. And then when issues like this that I've described like come up, you know, just being able to handle that without like the fear of like, all right, I have this massive problem going on over here, but like I also have this new restaurant that I have to staff and hire the manager there for, you know, make sure everything like goes smoothly. So I don't know. I've kind of like right now I feel like I'm like pumping the brakes on that a little bit. Not that I won't do it or won't do it like, you know, on a different timeline, or the same time. I don't know. But like our lease ends in March of next year. And at this point it doesn't lose money. So we could just continue, maybe make some minor improvements, get some like bigger TVs or do things to make it like a little bit of a better experience and renew the lease for 5 years, or or just, or we could close it, not take the option, and close the restaurant or rebrand. I don't know. So I'm kind of like at least pumping the brakes on that a little bit, just because like I want to enjoy the summer.
That's interesting. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about this week, because I'm also in a season where like I'm going to be real busy if I keep saying yes to stuff at my normal rate. And people in businesses like mine, the professional services, whatever, you pump you like, if you're busy, you do one of three things. That's one, hire people; two, raise the prices; or three, like establish a wait list. My question to you, we can jump to my thing in a second, but as you were talking, I'm like, okay, so the restaurants around town where like, if you're going there, you need to call a week in advance, like reserve a table. If you show up on a Friday night, you're not going to get something until 10 p.m. Those kind of places. Like, is there ever too busy for a restaurant? And then those restaurants that are always packed, do they view that as a problem, or is it just like, hey, more money, always packed is awesome. We don't care that people have to wait for us. Like, that's a good thing. Like, how does a restaurant owner view that dynamic?
Yeah, it's always a good thing, because you get used to whatever like sort of volume that you have. So like if you're doing, if you're a restaurant that does like $10,000 days, if you're used to doing like $3,000 days, to go from 3 to 10 is a huge jump. But if you're consistently doing 10, at a certain point, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's a good problem to have, to be busy as opposed to being not busy 100%. Because at some point you might have some rough days, but like your staff you're going to get used to how, like, knowing how to staff that restaurant. And then your staff's going to get used to like that volume. They're going to like the volume because they're making more, the servers are making more money, and it's easier to keep staff if everyone's like busy. If you don't have to like be as concerned about your labor costs and stuff, because volume cures a lot of ills,
Yeah.
So like it's better for everyone if the volume's there. If the volume's not there, then it's like people start to get a little nervous. Like, am I next on the chopping block to get laid off, and things like that. So yeah, no, all the time you want to be as busy as possible, for sure. So yeah, I like, there's not too many restaurants in town that do reservations. There's some of the nicer ones, like Next Door does, but like, and Stacks, I think, maybe does.
Yeah, Stacks does a whole online thing, yeah.
But there's a lot of like more casual restaurants in town, and those ones don't. It's typically first come, first serve. And if you can get away with it, like nicer, like fine dining or nicer restaurants in this market don't work as well, because you're not in the Chicago market. You've got a lot of families here. Like, you got to appeal to a wide group of people. So that's why I like Next Door, because it's like we're in that sweet spot of feeling like elevated, and we take reservations, and that the front, like the bar area, feels like date night, but like the back room doesn't feel as much like date night. And we have a kids menu, and so you can walk in there and probably not wait very long, but it also encourages people to make reservations. And the nice thing about reservations is it's great for planning. Like when you're doing your food orders, knowing like, do I need to put on an extra cook for that shift? It's fantastic for planning,
So if a restaurant gets really busy, what lever are you thinking of pulling first? Are you just okay with people waiting longer, or are you thinking about raising prices, or are you thinking hiring? Like what goes through your head if a place is really busy, just consistently?
I think, I think people are fine waiting. Like for example, Le Peep, we don't take reservations. Every Sunday, we're probably like in the peak hours, we're probably on a 40-minute wait every single Sunday.
Yeah.
And we've got 160 seats in there, so that's like that's a business, a restaurant that like just cranks consistently, which is like awesome, and so like, yes, I would be 100% fine with going on a wait. It doesn't make sense to take reservations at a restaurant like that because it's so fast paced.
Nobody would. Breakfast, brunch, yeah.
It would hurt us too,
Yeah.
Like the price points are lower. So it's all about turning tables and volume. Whereas like the dinner places where you kind of want them to hang out, get like 3 or 4 drinks while they're sitting there, get dessert. And it's a shorter window of time. You're working, you're busy from maybe 6 to 8. Like those are your peak hours, 6 to 7:30. So you're not going to turn the tables like multiple times. Breakfast and lunch, it's kind of like from 6:30 from 8 to 1. I would say it's just like consistently busy.
Yeah.
So, so you have more time there where you want to turn tables. So for dinner, it's like it's not always about just turning tables. I mean, that's important, yeah, but it's not like breakfast turning tables. Mm-hmm. So you want to maximize how many people are coming in. Sometimes if you're really busy, like sometimes people will leave if you quote a long wait time, but like you're still having a good night. Yeah. So yeah, I would do that, and like I don't rush to raising prices. Like I want my prices to reflect what our food cost goal is.
So that's the last thing you'd do is raise prices. Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
because that's my first thought. Mm-hmm. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No. Yeah. It's easier to do that at a high volume restaurant, especially like Le Peep, where it's not like I'm going up a couple dollars on like I might go, if it's been 6 months or whatever, it's like, all right, we're still really busy. Let's go up like 50 cents on something. Like we're not, it's not going to be super noticeable. It might increase, it might make our cost of goods, a percentage point lower or something. So it's going to make a positive impact. We know we're not really going to lose people, that the price difference isn't really going to scare them off. So, that definitely enters the conversation, but, as long as our food cost we've costed out our menu and we know like what our goals are, then, that's the main thing. I mean, I'd rather, if at some point it's like, if our cost of goods and our labor's in line, like the more volume we do is just going to make it better. Our labor cost is going to go low. Our food cost, stays the same. Yeah, that's kind of our approach to it. Just making sure like our staffing's, if it increases, like we got to make sure we've got enough people in each position to cover the shift, so the staff's not overwhelmed and all that, But volume's always like a really good thing.
That's interesting. So I know totally different animal, but volume's brutal on me, obviously, because I'm doing all my own drawing.
Well, I would think for you, like when you talk about raising prices, wouldn't you want to do that? I would think you'd want to keep your prices lower or more consistent with the people that are going to be like repeat customers, like builders.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So
and if it's like a one-time thing,
there are 3 builders that I'm like pretty close with, and I have locked in pricing with all 3 of them. And like they give me good volume, and it's a pretty low rate. It's probably the lowest rate of anybody I quote. Now for those, if you're working with one of those builders, you're getting my services at a reduced rate, but, they keep sending me stuff and no one is saying no to those prices. So I'm like, man, and I've held those prices for years now. I think with some of them 2 to 4 years, almost ever since I started. I'm like, man, should I raise those prices? Also right now it's at one of those increment levels where psychologically when I go over that, it seems like a lot more,
Are you comfortable sharing that or not really?
Yeah.
Like what that is? Or we can talk off camera, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, because it changes so much. I don't want to.
Now that you said that, I'm curious like what that jump would be and how I would interpret that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So in general, my thought is the $5,000 mark, the $10,000 mark, the $20,000 mark. Like if you jump past any of those marks, it's like, oh, I'm paying for something a lot more expensive. $4,500 versus $5,500 feels like a lot more than $1,000 in my head. I don't know if I'm right in that. But yeah, so I'm at one of those marks with a lot of these builders. I'm like, is it bad to jump past that? And then also I know like once I reveal my pricing, I should be getting no's. That proves to me, like, this is totally different than a restaurant, right? Like, that proves to me I'm at a good pricing tier if people are like, no, you're too expensive. As long as not everybody's saying that. But these builders clients, they never say that. And part of it, I think, is I've got an awesome recommendation from the builder. That smooths over like everything. So I don't really have to have a sales process. But I'm like, okay, if I increase my prices with those builders and not some of their clients, but not all of their clients went with me, doesn't that create a really big problem for me? They're like, Adam's our guy, but kind of. He's on the expensive side, but everybody loves his price.
What percentage is that? What percentage is like the builders you're getting recommended by that? Is that like 80% of your business?
Maybe a little less than that, but it's over 50. I think. I haven't done the numbers.
And then the other 40 to 50 would be just random people reaching out.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could also, like, you could start with that 40% and be like, as people start reaching out in, like, let's say you choose August or something, or like, as people start reaching out in that time frame, be like, yeah, this is my rate. Just so you know, in 2026, it's changing to X amount.
Yeah.
You know, like so like you give people a heads up, and then it might encourage people to, like, at least book and be like, hey, because of this, I'm having a lot of bookings, so it is a wait list, and this is what the timeline's gonna look like. But if we wait into, if you book after January 1st of next year, it's gonna be X amount, and you don't necessarily have to say that to everybody.
Yeah,
like if you want to keep like a handful of your builders that are like consistent, and you just want that consistent work, like you don't even have to raise it for them if you don't want to.
Right.
I don't know if you have your rates posted on your website at all, but
I don't. It's just,
and
it's so hard
from that standpoint. It's a good thing, right? Because then, like, I know your dad does that, and that's like got him a lot of business because he's transparent about that. But for you, maybe it doesn't make sense, and you can tell certain people, like, this is my new rate for, non-repeat type customers. You don't have to say that, but like that's the strategy.
Yeah. I've always wanted to, but there's just so much variation in the types of projects and the type of work that it's really hard for me to button down like a concrete number. And then, like, if I did button down a number, it'd probably be higher than the special builder pricing I have. And then does one of those builders' clients go on my website and be like, wait, you told me Adam was at X, but his site says his design service is this. Like, does that create problems? I don't know if I'm overthinking it or not. But yeah.
Well, you could post it higher, but be like, for your repeat customers, be like, this, it's a different rate because, they get me consistent business.
Yeah. Maybe I should. I've always wanted to try it because, like, literally nobody in my industry posts prices. Nobody. And I think that's dumb. I think every other industry I see prices posted everywhere. And I think it's part of the psychology of buying something is you want to know how much it is. It's the biggest hurdle in any sales process. You might as well get that objection out right away, right up front. And every company does this. Really the only like the high end, super specific sales, like if you're into medical sales or stuff like that, they don't have any. And part of it is probably just like their manpower, right? Like they don't have enough people. It's such a specialty item. They don't have enough people to update a website that shows what their stuff costs. But for 99% of the stuff you buy, the price is right there. It's the first thing you see. So I don't know. I don't know if that would just turn people faster if they just knew the number. Oh, Adam's this, put my tiers up online and say tier 1 is, most basic. This is what you get. And then all the way up to the deluxe tier. And yeah.
What comes with deluxe?
It's like,
you like take your clothes off.
Subscribe to my only plans. No, we don't. Wow. I don't know how to.
I'm just trying to make this interesting.
You did. Am I getting red?
Oh, man. Sorry.
Oh, that's hilarious. Sorry. Yeah. So last question on this. As a buyer, what would you stomach easier? A higher price or a wait list for something like designing a home?
From my perspective,
Yeah, because that's a very common thing in my industry for designers and architects to say, I'm super busy right now, can't start your project till 2026 or can't start.
I'd say higher price.
Yeah.
Because like when people make that decision, I haven't built a house before, but like when people make the decision that that's what they want to do, you'd think it's like, oh, I got to wait like 6 months or a year, because
Yeah.
he's so backed up.
Yeah.
Like as long as the price can be justified, like I would think you'd want a quick timeline.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be cheaper than like an architect,
Usually, yeah.
So so as long as you can deliver on like, this like speed element, like getting it done quickly, and you're maybe saying that up front, like, all right, once I start the project, it's gonna take me, X amount of time for the first draft, and then within however many months we should be done.
Yeah.
So like they know that, and it's like, all right, I can justify an extra $1,000,
Yeah.
for like I know what the timeline is, and there's some security in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would
that's interesting.
think you could go up a little bit, as long as you can deliver,
Yeah. Yeah. And just let the price weed people out
Yeah.
instead of the wait list. Yeah.
It's just like in healthcare. What do they always say? Like healthcare can be two of the three components. It can't be cheap, fast, and good.
Yeah. You
It can
pick
be
two
two.
or three. Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of taking that mindset into this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe not 100%, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this week we're recording a two-parter.
Yeah. So on the second, this first part was just kind of talking about what's going on.
Yeah,
Second
dealing
part,
with busyness. Yeah, second part, we're going to do a tier list of the best types of businesses to own and run as an entrepreneur. So yeah, I got a tier list here. We're going to fire it up. We're going to post this next week. So thank you so much for listening and watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends.
Watch part 2.